This is an infrared sensor clip that was uploaded to a classified network in August 2020 and is labeled August 21st, 2020 callsign Observes UAP in Persian Gulf. The video runs just under 5 minutes. For the opening portion, there is no distinct target framed in the imagery. Later in the recording, the sensor zooms out and a region of contrast moves down through the field of view, and the imaging system adjusts zoom and pans to follow that region. Over the final minutes, that area of contrast becomes less distinct, merging with the grain of the thermal imagery as the sensor zooms out once more. In March of 2026, 8 members of the United States House of Representatives requested access to a set of 51 potentially UAP-related records said to be held by the Department of War and elements of the intelligence community. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, identified a collection of responsive materials on a classified network and produced the descriptive notes for this clip. AARO also reported that many items in the collection lack a substantiated chain of custody, which complicates efforts to establish provenance or to corroborate what is shown here. AARO assesses this video as likely derived from an infrared sensor aboard a United States military platform operating within the United States Central Command Area of Responsibility in 2020. A user uploaded the file to the classified network in August 2020, and the clip appears in the Pursue release of materials reviewed as part of the request. AARO provided the timeline and the plain description of what the sensor recorded, but did not offer an analytic judgment about the event itself or its cause. Visually, the recording is typical of shortwave infrared footage in challenging conditions. Early frames are essentially empty of discrete thermal contacts. When the region of contrast first appears, it registers as a compact patch of differing intensity against a relatively uniform background. The sensor system changes focal length and pans when that patch moves, indicating the operator or the tracking software attempted to keep the feature centered. At times, the patch sharpens slightly as the zoom changes, and at other times it softens and loses contrast as the imaging noise overtakes the signal. Those visual behaviors are important to note because infrared imaging can produce a range of effects that do not necessarily map directly to a physical object in the sky. A region of contrast can reflect a genuine thermal target, a wake or disturbance on the surface, a transient sensor artifact, framing or motion blur, or a combination of those factors. The descriptive notes supplied with the file emphasize that the clip should not be read as an analytic conclusion about the nature or origin of the observed feature. Operational context also matters here. The clip was recorded inside the CENTCOM area of responsibility and originates from equipment operated by a United States platform. That placement means the sensor was working against a maritime and atmospheric background that can produce thermal clutter and signatures that change rapidly with range and viewing angle. The limited duration of clear signal in this clip and the subsequent loss of distinction into the image grain limit what can be inferred from the imagery alone. Procedural concerns further constrain analysis. AARO flagged gaps in the chain of custody for many of the materials it identified, and the existence of an upload to a classified network in August 2020 does not by itself demonstrate how the file was captured, processed, or handled afterward. Those gaps matter when investigators try to corroborate a sensor track with other data sources, such as radar, voice recordings, or platform logs. For viewers, this clip is an example of a common archival problem. A limited thermal signature recorded near the end of short clip, sensor motion that complicates tracking, and an interrupted evidentiary trail. AARO shared the descriptive timeline so that researchers and the public can see what the raw imagery shows and what it does not show, while cautioning against drawing firm conclusions from a single imperfect clip. Explore the case file, related footage, sighting reports, and our weekly UAP News podcast at UAPDrop.com.